Hello and welcome to today's class. In today's class, we are going to be looking at this HackerRank implementation question. It's an algorithm and we are going to solve it together. It's a very beginner-friendly question, and the requirement for this class is basically to have the basic knowledge of JavaScript. If you're already familiar with JavaScript and maybe struggling with algorithms, you're in the right place. And if you want to learn algorithm as well, you are also in the right place. Okay, so in today's class, we are going to look at this together. So I will show you step by step on how to think, like the logic way to go about implementing algorithms. So let's go. Given an array of integers and a positive integer k, determine the number of j pairs where I is less than j and array I plus array j is divisible by k. Okay, you can see from the example, and first of all, you can also see the question here as well. You can also see the question here as well. So to know the parameters that the function has, now it has 3 parameters, and one of the parameters is AR, which is an array. Now it's clear to you that it's an array. This number you are seeing in this function is an array. Then k is an integer. Okay, so now what we want to do is to know where I and k are divisible. So let's go and read on the question. So 3 pairs met at this: 1 plus 5, 2 plus 3, 4 plus 6, as we can see. So, okay, cool. Divisible, okay, 4 plus 6, okay, 4 plus 6, which is 10, divided by 5, so it's divisible. Okay, so now we say complete the divisible function, which is what I just showed you here, function in the editor below. Okay, divisible sum pairs has the following parameters. Divisible sum pairs function, which is this, has the following parameters, which I've shown you earlier, like the length of an array, then n is the length of the array, and k is the integer divisor. Okay, so we have to return the number of pairs, as you can see here. So now let's jump into it and see what we can do now. Since we are returning the number of pairs, so it means we have to return the counts of the pairs. So we say let count equal to 0. Right, so the idea of what we want to do is that we are looking for the pair of numbers that can be divided by k. So in our array, so the idea now is to now look through the array. I can write it down. Let's see the steps. So the first step, what we'll do first is to declare. Now I can't already declare, so we look through array, look through AR array, we look through AR array. Then after looking through, what we do, we now check where the value, check where the value of an index check where the value of an index that is added to another value in another index, another value added to another value added to another value in another index and can be divided by k. I think that is what comes to my head, and I think that is what it should be. And can be divided by k. So the first thing is to look through this array, then check where the value of an index that is added to another that is added to another value that is added to another value in another index. In another index. So the next thing we are going to do now is to now look through for let's I equal to 0. I is less than array. No, n. We have n already. And I plus plus. So the way loops work, like for loop, the way it works is that I know you are already familiar with loop. I will just tell you how it works. It works like you tell it where it start looping through the array you want to loop through. If you want it to start from the middle of the array, it will start there. If you want it to start in the very zero index of the array, that is where it will start. So in our own case, we want it to start from index 0. So now that is why you have seen what I've just shown you on my laptop now. So now what we like to do now is to now declare another index based on what we have here. Like this is an index I, so we need another index to look through, like to be able to look through the array with another index name so that we can compare. That is what I've just written over there as the logic behind you be able to solve this challenge. So I'll do another for let j equal to I plus 1. Do you know why it's I plus 1? It is I plus 1 because when the index of I is in index 0, then we expect the index of j to be at index 1, so that we can add the two of them together and now compare it with k. So that's what we want to do here. So now say j is less than n because n is our length, then j plus plus, we want to increment j. So now let's compare. Let's now do our dabakadabra. So now say if array that array I, if that array I, we want to use two loops with different index name to compare the values. Okay, so array I, if array I plus array j modulo k equal to 0. If you are not familiar with what a modulo is used to check if a number can be divided by a number without a reminder. It's the perfect method that you can use to quickly know if a number can be divided by a value or not. So in our own case, we want to check if we add array I, array A together and we do a modulo of k, will it remain 0? If it will be 0, then of course we have gotten what we are looking for. So we just increment counts. The count that will be declared here, we just increment count, then we return it. Then we return counts. So if you are not familiar with algorithm, or you are a bit lost on what we just did, you can drop a comment in the comment section and I will look at it. So let's try our code and see if it works. Okay, it failed. That means we are not doing something right. So let's I equal to 0, I is less than, let j equal to I plus 1. Okay. Let's see why. Let me see why our algorithm is not passing. I don't know. Is it that there's no? Okay, it's there already. Okay, this is where we need to return. To see. This is where we need to return our. Yeah, it was hidden before. So let's run it and see. So let's run it and see. Okay, it passed. So okay, let me run fully to see if our code works completely. It's still running, still checking. While it's checking, let's just quickly look at something here. So I'll just like a run through. So what we did was to like check the values. We use j, we use I at index 0, we use j at index 1. So add together, then we'll jump again, then we'll move like that, one after the other. That's how we're able to get this function done. So if you have any comments, you can also reach out. Thank you.